Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player, any age, or any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard mouthpiece makes it easier to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeuroGuard. They control my breathing while I'm riding. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And the concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
All right, everybody, now's the time. Brown right, motion, tailback slant. Let's put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner, all right? On one, ready? Go, 13! Coming up, go, 13! Hey!
Time to talk realignment 2026. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here, sideline to sideline, as it is realignment day, which is kind of, in a way, almost become as big as anything that, the UIL puts out outside of the actual state championship and playoffs, all the projections, all the where will this team go, where will that team go, we will find out here in a little while. And thank you for joining us here. And now, as you can tell, I'm on the pro side of the studio, and that's just simply because this weekend, of course, it's the Super Bowl. Intern Noe, the pro, and I will be doing our Super Bowl live watch party. This will be the third year we've done it now, and it's just way easier just to keep everything on this side. In fact, you'll probably see this side of the studio usually for most of the off season until we get to the June and July, the serious off season stuff. Like toughest rankings, toughest regions, and all that kind of fun stuff. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be kind of just waiting out till 9 o'clock when the numbers come out. We'll talk about them. Of course, mainly 4A, 3A, and 2A. I might talk a little bit about some of the other, interesting ones. Of course, a lot of it now as far as who goes up and down. We know all that. It's now just who goes where. And that's going to be the interesting part. And I will admit, I am not one of those that's real big on projections of this kind of stuff. Like Matt Stepp over at Dave Campbell's, of course, it does a great job. There's a couple other sites on Twitter or people, I wish I'd have wrote their names down to promote them, because they do a great job projecting out stuff. And I enjoy reading it. I'm just not the biggest on sitting down and trying to put the puzzle piece together. I'm more of, I want to see the puzzle after it's done. And here we are. Now, usually the way this works is at 9 o'clock, they'll post the numbers, or around at 9 o'clock, or the new, I should say numbers, the new districts around 9 o'clock. It hasn't been like it used to be. Sorry, we're kind of in live production mode here. It hasn't been like it has used to be, where the site crashes. I don't think it's done that in a few years, but it has done that before. In fact, one of the ways that Grant and I first kind of got big on the scene where people started knowing who we were was we were at Birdville, where one of the basically there's a bunch of places around the state of Texas where all coaches go and they see. You don't have to do as much anymore, of course, with the internet and stuff, but they still like to do that, use that as a day to kind of hang out and stuff. But you'll go there and the numbers get revealed. And so we're doing a live show there for Old Coach, me, Grant, and Matt Stepp, and we're just kind of chilling. And all the numbers come in and they show up on our computers, but the big one that they had at Birdville at the time, the computer, it wasn't loading the numbers. And so all these coaches end up just hanging around us and we were trading the numbers and stuff. And this is back when we actually kind of covered all the sports, even though we had sideline to sideline, 4A, 3A. At that time, it was just 4A and 3A. But we still did a lot of 5A and 6A stuff, whether it was broadcasting games or working with Matt and stuff. And so I always have that fond memory of realignment, because that was one of the first times a lot of coaches were like, "Oh, we've never heard of y'all. This is pretty cool." And then the other one was 2 years before, is when we had the big snowstorm and we weren't able to do a live show at Birdville. That's the year that snowed during Super Bowl week here when the Packers and Steelers played. Oddly enough, the new Steelers head coach was the Packers head coach back then, of course, and former Cowboy coach in Mike McCarthy. But we got about 15 minutes. We might have a couple people jumping on. Chris Welch from Bushland. And our plane show, he was going to jump on, but work got him, and he's not going to be able to. So we're going to do something a little special probably later on in the week with him to talk to Panhandle. I'm hoping Kenny Heath from our Syntax show can jump on. Again, it's a little different with it being 8:40 on a Monday morning. Work responsibilities make it hard for a lot of people who you normally get to talk to. And then, of course, I will talk to the coaches that we do coaches shows over the next couple weeks if there's big changes in their districts. Like, I have a feeling I'll be talking with Coach Mathis, because there's probably going to be a big change in their district. Of course, we already know Eagle Mountain not only is going up, it's going up from 4A Division II all the way up to 5A Division II. That's how big their numbers were. And then, of course, Grant and I don't know yet. I will talk to him probably later on this week. We'll probably do something next week where he'll just stay at his house and we'll just do it like over internet, like me and Noah do most of the shows. And he'll give his initial thoughts and, let the dust settle, and we'll kind of be able to figure it out. All right, we're going to take a break right now. We're about 13 minutes away or so from this happening. So we're going to come right back here on the Sideline to Sideline Realignment Show. Hey, Coach, are you ready to elevate your locker room experience? Well, at H&H Locker Solutions, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality lockers at the lowest cost in the Southeast. As a coach-owned business based in Alabama, we understand the needs of the coaches and the players alike. Our mission is to improve your locker room and streamline your process, and we're coming to Texas. Did you know we offer a free locker program? That's right. We ship all across the USA, ensuring you get the best solutions tailored just for you and your program. Want to learn more? Drop a comment or give Coach Harris, a.k.a. Ty, a call at 256-458-4427, and let's take your locker room to the next level.
Coach Surratt came in 2007, and really what's remarkable about him is how quickly he turned the program around.
The biggest challenge here was just to change the mindset. Obviously, we want a winning culture, but the first thing you got to instill is, toughness. It don't matter if it's volleyball, football, baseball.
He's put Carthage on the map to a great extent.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room, and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player at any age at any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard guard mouthpiece makes it easier to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeoGuard. They control my breathing while I'm riding. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And the concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
All right, everybody, now's the time. Brown right, motion, tailback slant. Let's put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner, all right? On one, ready? Go, 13! Go, 13!
Sorry, I did not mean to hit that. We started at 8:30. I thought we were going to have a couple people on, but unfortunately, again, as I was saying before the break, the work schedule caught up on a couple of them. So we're kind of just in a holding pattern right here. As it's 8:51 my time. They're supposed to start at around 9. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, email the show, Grant and Terry at S2SSport.com. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, if you want to message us, just message right there and it will show up on our little chat thing that we have here. Now, if you're watching through Smokey's link on Smokey.com, you'll have to go to YouTube to chat. I can't read those chats on that thread in this studio browser. We have we record through a browser, and so it's really cool. It puts up our chats and everything, and we have a lot of fun doing the live shows on the NFL side of this stuff. We did a couple live shows last year for high school, had great numbers. We're going to do that again next year, and we're in a live show right now again, just kind of waiting on the realignment stuff. As I was saying earlier, I love to read and follow it all after it happens. I've just never been big in trying to project like where the districts go. I know some people love that stuff. Like I said, Matt does it. We get a bunch of people messaging us, asking us questions, and and I get it. I'm excited for 901 to then see where everybody's at, then to see where all the chips have fallen, who ends up what. Well, we have a District of Doom, with a Decatur, Alvarado, and Stephenville, which is a very good possibility. Those things are intriguing to think about. And so we'll see how it falls on here. Hang on real quick. All right, making sure the board was running right. But as of that, we're just kind of waiting. 8:52, again, in about 9 minutes, we'll have the numbers. Let's see. We do have a chat. Jeremy Hargrave. If they put Columbus in Region 4, it's going to be fire. We have the house coming back. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That is one of the interesting ones. Where does like a Columbus go? Do they Region 3 or do they drop down to Region 4, which Region 3 is the last few years as far as just it's been a slog to get through. I think Region 4 is going to be pretty tough this year as well, though. Again, depending on how these teams laid out. It'll be curious to see how some of these teams that travel, look, I think one of the discussions you could have, and if Kenny would have been able to jump on, I was going to have it with him, and I will when we record, and it'll be a question I'll ask multiple people. I love the split divisions. I absolutely do. I like knowing beforehand who goes where. I still contend, stop calling it 4A Division 1, Division 2. Just start at the top and just classify them by number. But you do have to start to wonder with some of these teams and some of these travels because there's not enough of their division around them. How much is that going to start? Do we see a day where we go into back to one, like one district, 2 divisions, and that way you're playing Division 1, Division 2 in the same district, and then you split in the playoffs? I don't know. Mark Harpole says Coach Worrell and the Bearcats to the top. Hey, I'm curious to see where they're going to end up, man. After the run they made last year, Chad is laying down that foundation for the Bearcats, and for a team like them, it just all depends on, where they're going to get in that district. I don't see a ton of movement. I know there's a couple teams that might be moving in and out. Brett Lee says, does Carthage get put over into Region 3? That's always the question in East Texas. Does East Texas, where does that split happen in East Texas 4A and 3A? Because it completely changes the scope of that side of the state as far as, because if they're in Region 2, they're playing a Region 1 team in the state semifinals. If they're in Region 3, they're playing a Region 4 team in the state semifinals. So that completely that's one of those moves that does completely change the landscape. Now, in saying that, and I know we always say this about Carthage did lose a lot this year. This will be one of the youngest teams, and they're still loaded, folks. I'm not saying they're going to take a big step back or anything, but this will be one of the younger teams they've had in a few years. So that'll be interesting. Where does Gilmer? Do we get another District of Doom in East Texas with a Gilmer and teams like that? We've had, of course, Jacksonville dropping down. We know they're going to drop down to 4A. But probably going to be ending up in that, that Henderson, Chapel Hill district with Carthage, which, I don't know if that makes it any better for Jacksonville. In fact, the last time they dropped down, it wasn't like it improved them. The Indians and how bad they've been over the last 15 years is just fascinating to me. We are about 5 minutes away from this, so we're going to take one more break, and we'll come back, and hopefully we'll start having some numbers up here pretty soon.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player, any age, at any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard mouthpiece makes it easier to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeuroGuard. They control my breathing while I'm riding. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And the concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
Hey, Coach, are you ready to elevate your locker room experience? Well, at H&H Locker Solutions, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality lockers at the lowest cost in the Southeast. As a coach-owned business based in Alabama, we understand the needs of the coaches and the players alike. Our mission is to improve your locker room and streamline your process, and we're coming to Texas. Did you know we offer a free locker program? That's right. We ship all across the USA, ensuring you get the best solutions tailored just for you and your program. Want to learn more? Drop a comment or give Coach Harris, a.k.a. Ty, a call at 256-458-4427, and let's take your locker room to the next level.
Coach Surratt came in 2007, and really what's remarkable about him is how quickly he turned the program around.
The biggest challenge here was just to change the mindset. Obviously, we want a winning culture, but the first thing you got to instill is, toughness. It don't matter if it's volleyball, football, baseball.
He's put Carthage on the map to a great extent.
All right, we're back. Just waiting now. A few more minutes, actually about a minute. Studio Dog's making an appearance. You might see a beagle head pop up here if she decides to jump up. as it's supposed to be at 9 o'clock, it's 8:59. And again, we're all doing the same thing, just refreshing. Now, what I will do is when these pop, I've got the old realignment here on my laptop, and what we'll do is I'll pull up and put up the new number or the new districts, and we'll just go and kind of see where the differences are and see where the changes are and see where everybody's at. As again, I don't think it crashed last year when we did this. Oh, here we go. They are up now, actually. So we will start at the bottom. We'll go, hang on. We'll go 2A Division 1. Now let me get right over here and start to share the screen as we go that, and we go that, and let's make this one bigger. Here we go, folks. This is the fun part of the show. Now I've got to now go over there to where I can see it because I have terrible eyes. All right, so 2A Division 1, 2026 through 2028. Here is the new districts. I'm trying to go now on my side. So District 1 doesn't look like it changed. Actually, West Texas is in it. Sorry. Oh, sorry, pop-up. My bad. Okay, I can't see what this is showing me because my computer has popped up. I don't even know if y'all can see this. It's always something weird when the UIL stuff happens. All right, here we go. District 2, you got Farwell, Fladada. By the way, the head coach of West Texas went there. A little bit of a surprise. Hale Center, Olton, and Tulia. That's completely different from last year. Last year, you had Abernathy in District 2. You had New Deal in District 2. We flip over to District 3, where now you have Abernathy and New Deal and New Home and Post and Sundown. Heck, man, that's going to be a tough district right there. District 4, Ballinger, Big Lake, Reagan Country, Christoval, Colorado City, Forum, Ozona, and Sonora. You hit Region 2, and you've got one of the charter schools. I think that's a charter school. Abilene, Texas Leadership, Anson, Cisco, De Leon, Hawley, and Hyco. Ooh, that's an interesting one. In District 5, you've got Alvord, Chico, Munster, Nacona, Olney, and Tioga. So we all knew Munster was going to go up. Alvord goes up with them. That pretty much, I will talk to Coach Carney about it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to set their non-district schedule because they're going to play most of their old district brevity. Of course, you're going to get the Kraut Bowl and things like that. Hang on. Trying to see. Nope, sorry. I thought somebody jumped in on the thing. So Munster's now up in Division 1. That means for sure we will have a new Division 2 2A state champion, as they were the two-time defending. In District 7, you got Bangs, Brady, Coleman, Johnson City, LBJ, Mason, San Saba. District 8, basically the same: Axtell, Bosqueville, Dawson, Italy, Riesel, and Valley Mills. And then you flip over to Region 3, and you get into that Northeast Texas corridor: Rivercrest, Cooper, Honey Grove, Tom Bean, Trenton, Whitewright, and Wolf City. So that is a big difference from last year when you had this district being Alba Golden, Rivercrest, Como Picton, Cooper, Honey Grove, Omaha, Pewitt, and Quinlan Bowles. Tom Bean now slides in. Whitewright slides in. Wolf City slides back in. Now, Wolf City and Honey Grove and Cooper have been district foes before, depending on what division Wolf City was in. You've got District 10, Alba Golden, Cayuga, Como Picton, Frankston, Hawkins, Cairns, and Price Carlisle. So that Price Carlisle Frankston one, that's an interesting one, of course. Last year, Frankston was over in Region 2, had the best season in the history of their football program. Now, they do lose a lot on that, but they do have some talent coming back. But they definitely now are in a tougher, not only region, but district now that they are back in Region 3. And that's kind of always the thing, is that they're one of those pendulum teams that kind of swings between regions. In District 11 and in Deep East Texas, you got Beckville, Elysian Fields, Union Grove, Harleton, Pewitt, Ore City, and Wascom. So Pewitt with the biggest move there. Of course, last year, again, they were in the Alba Golden Cooper district, more of the true Northeast. Now they swing more into East Northeast Texas. That's an interesting district right there with Union Grove as well. Now, Union Grove was with them last year. This was District 10 of last year, but adding in Pewitt and dropping Big Sandy, who I think dropped to 2A Division 1, if I'm not mistaken. All right, or 2A Division 2. All right, and then in Region 3, District 12, you've got Garrison, Hemp Hill, Joaquin, Shelbyville, Timpson, and Joaquin. No different from last year's. I'm trying to look here. Yeah, it's the exact same district, just now District 12 instead of District 11. Now let's fly over to Region 4, Division 1, Class 2A. Bruceville, Eddy, Granger, Hearn, Marlin, Moody, Rosebud, Lott, and Thorndale. So Marlin now, I'm trying to see, they were last year. This is basically the same district. You've got Granger in now instead of Crawford. You've got Hearn now in and Moody. Well, no, Moody was in there last year. District 14, this is a completely different district now because of the way the region swung. As you got Centerville, Corrigan, Camden, Groveton, Iola, Jewett, Leon, Lovelady, and Normandy. And so, looking at last year, like this is almost a completely new group because this was in Region 2 last year. Basically the same teams, but just flipped into a region, jumped 2 districts. They were District 12, they're now 14. That's the oddity and the fascination with this kind of stuff is how they start that puzzle piece. And I know people are going to complain about, well, we have to drive past this team to do that. Lines have to be drawn somewhere at all times. And so you just never know. All right, Region 4, District 15, Bloomington, Danbury, Flatona, Ganado, Kennedy, Shiner, and Kennedy and Ganado all in one district. There's your region, and Weimar. There's your District 15 Region 4, 2A Division 1. That's your District of Doom this year. Maybe in all of 2A. We'll have to see. District 16, Banquetti, Dilly, Freer, Monte, Alto, so I can't see. Fremont, Refugio, and Skidmore, Tyven, Taft. So that's 2A Division 1. Now let's flip over to 2A Division 2. So far, no problems with the things. Let me flip over on my notes here, too, as well, so I can see from last year's district. So District 1, of course, West Texas is now in Conference 2A Division 2. That was the big change. And the other one, again, their head coach has left. They're the only real big change from District 1 last year. In District 2, let's see, Morton. Now, this is a pretty big change because you've got Snyder dropping down to 2A Division. I'm sorry, I thought that was Snyder. Smyer, sorry, my bad. Read it wrong. Sudan, Seagraves, Ropes, Plain. So that's a different number, and that's basically District 3 from last year. This year's District 3 is Lockney, Pathway Academy, Roscoe, Crops Rails. That's basically the same as last year, except for Crosby now jumps up, or Crosbyton goes from District 2 to District 3 this year. So that's basically the only big change there. District 4, pretty much you got some changes here. You got Van Horn. Oh, no, you got them. You got Wink. You got Ira Ann, McCamey, El Dorado. Sterling City, that's the one. I was like, what am I missing there? Sterling City was in the district. They're out of the district this year. Of course, they dropped. Or they went up. Region 2, District 5, Clarendon, Memphis, Quanah, Wellington, Wheeler, Shamrock. District 6, Archer City, Electra, Haskell, Monday, Petrolia, Seymour, Windthorst. Let me see if that's one of my coaches. Starting to get some messages from coaches now. All right, sorry. Just had to answer a coach. District 7, Albany, Cross Plains, Goldwaith, Hamlin, Miles, Stanford, and Winters. And then District 8, Crawford now into Region 2 after being in Region 3. Frost, Hubbard, Mart, Meriden, Santo, and Wortham. Of course, the big thing with Region 2, Division 2 this year is Munster is now up. And so that completely changes where this region, where this is now, in my opinion. This is a wide open region this year. And of course, I'll start here in the next few months. We'll start getting the information about who has what coming back and all that. But this is interesting with the addition of Crawford and Mart and taking out Munster and Alvord as well. So we'll be curious to see where that goes. And speaking of Region 3, go to District 9. And this is an interesting one. Celeste, Collinsville, Cumbie, Era, Lindsay, and Quinlan Bowles. So not only does Lindsay lose Munster and Alvord as district opponents, they go all the way into Region 3 now. That's an interesting one. Their by-district opponent will be between Big Sandy, Clarksville, Detroit, Linden, Kildare, Maud, and Sims Bowie. Not too much of a change from that district from before, just in the numbering. Then you've got District 11. You've got Alto, Cushing, Grapeland, Crossroads, Mount Enterprise. What an amazing season by Mount Enterprise this year. Overton and Tenaha. District 12, not much change there. Let's go to Region 4. Just trying to look at District 15, Falls City, Yorktown, Three Rivers. District 16, District 14. Let's see, looking at District 14. Rock Springs is out. Looks like that's the only change. Be surprised Harper's in there. Harper basically and Rock Springs backed out. All right, so that's Class 2A Division 2. All right, now let's go to 3A Division 1. Trying to see if there's any chats. Yeah, hey, Noe. Intern Noe, the pro, is in the chat as we now have. I got 2,100 people. How y'all doing? Again, if y'all want to message wherever y'all watching the show, just message, and I can see it. Starting to get the coach blow-ups now, so if somebody's able to come on, it'll probably be later on before we start doing those. But anyway, let's now go to, let me share the screen again. And if I forgot to do that with 2A Division 2, I do apologize. All right. So, Class 3A. I actually don't know yet, Jason. I'm going from 2A up, so I haven't actually seen what the things are. As this is a look at Class 3A Division 1. Let me go ahead and pull this up on my laptop, too. I was trying to do it where I could see last year's and compare, but, man, my eyesight is so bad now. I'm so old. It's hard to do that. So let's just do it like this. All right, 3A Division 1, District 1, you've got Brownfield, Bushland, Dalhart, Denver City, and Shallowater. So Bushland and Shallowater stay district rivals for 2 more years. In District 2, you've got Clyde, Kermit, La Mesa, Odessa, Compass Academy, Sweetwater, and Jim Nett. So Jim Nett and Clyde and Sweetwater in the same district. District 3, you've got Early, Ingram Moore, Llano, San Angelo, Texas Leadership, and Wall. Wall's got to be happy with that one. Hang on, I'm breaking a drink over. I promise you it's just a Dr. Pepper, not a beer. District 4, I don't even drink beer, but it sounds like it. District 4, Bowie, Boyd, Paradise, Peaster, and Vernon. If you're Paradise and Peaster and Vernon, I think you got to be pretty happy with that one. Of course, those 3 teams last year having great seasons, Paradise and Peaster playing each other twice. I think you're very happy with that. And I think you might be very happy with the region you're in. All right, let's go over to Region 2, and here's where things get interesting. Dallas, A+ Academy, Life Oak Cliff, Gunter, Pilot Point, Pottsboro, and Whitesboro, all in the same division, folks. Wow. That is going to be a battle. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say you can probably predict who will be the 4 playoff teams out of that, though Life Oak Cliff is a solid program. But you can predict who will be the 4 out of there, but who finishes where will be anybody's guess. That's the first real whoa district for me. District 6, you've got Grandview, Groesbeck, Keene, Mejia, Palmer, West, and Whitney. Now, let me check and see here because Kenny Heath had told me their schedule. All right, so their I'm not going to say what their schedule is. I don't know if I'm allowed to release it yet. This was sent to me from Kenny, and he of course does the Whitney broadcast. He does our Syntech show. He does our he does a Whitney coaching show. Great dude. It looks like their non-district schedule will be intact. So I will say this: Whitney, with who they're in district and with who their non-district schedule is, that's going to be a pretty tough season for them. District 7, Resurgent Commerce last year, a magical run. Eustis, Malakoff, Mineola, Mount Vernon, Rains, and Winsboro. That's going to be an interesting one. We got to see the growth of, Malakoff. We got to see how Winsboro bounces back. Mount Vernon last year took a huge step forward, kind of came out of nowhere. Very impressed with what they were doing. And then District 8, I mean, it feels like this is the same district. I know there might be a change or two. Again, I don't have the last year's notes up right now because I was having a hard time getting them both. But, I mean, you look at it, and it's Atlanta, Gladewater, Sabine, Tatum, Liberty Island, and White Oak. I don't know. Jefferson's out. That's the difference. That's the difference. I was trying to think of what it was. Jefferson, I think, must have gone down to 3A Division 2. All right, Region 3, District 9, Crockett, Diboll, Fairfield, Huntington, Westwood, Trinity. What will Westwood be like this year? They were fun but controversial the last couple of years. It ended poorly. How do they rebuild that? A program that has been historically down. It had two of their best seasons in the history of their program. How do they bounce back now and rebuild? District 10, Anahuac, Buna, Tarkington, Cold Spring, Oakhurst, East Chambers, Kirbyville, Orangeville. District 11, Columbus stays in Region 3. Columbus, Edna, Hempstead, Palacio, Sweeney, and Wharton. That's a pretty good district for Columbus and Edna. They got to be happy with that one. I think that, and where they're at in that now, in saying that, they're who they back up against, it's familiar. It's Caldwell, Franklin, Little River Academy, Lorena, McGregor, Rockdale, and Troy. So just a couple of flips here and there. But Region 3, Columbus stays in Region 3. That's the big news of this one, in my opinion. All right, Region 4, you've got Hallettsville, you've got Luling, you've got Marion, you've got San Antonio Cole, you've got Smithville, Universal City, Randolph, and Yoakum. So Yoakum goes to Region 4. Yoakum splits off of that Region 3, and now they go to Region 4. Wow, that's one of the bigger changes, in my opinion, especially when you look at Region 4 and 3A Division 1 this year. I'm not saying Yoakum's a prohibitive favorite, but I don't think Yoakum's too mad. I think Coach Robson's too mad that they flipped over to Region 4 this year, because District 14, Carrizo Springs, Crystal City, Divine, Hondo, Jordanton, Lytle, Natalia, Poteet. District 5, Aransas Pass, West Oso, Goliad, Mathis, Orange Grove, Sinton. Now in District 15, District 16, Bishop, Lyford, Progresso, Raymondville, Rio Hondo, San Diego. And the biggest thing is Sinton dropping down. They're now, them and Yoakum. If we're going to do who's your just early favorite, them and Yoakum in that region. Sinton has been great in 4A, and it doesn't, dropping down doesn't guarantee you that you're going to, automatically be successful. But when you've been as successful as they have at the 4A level, I think it's fair to say that they will continue that. All right, let's go to 3A Division 2. Flip them on my things as well. 3A Division 2. And then I will. So, Jason, did Stephenville go Region 3, 4, or Region 3? I still haven't seen. I'm just now in 3A Division 2. We're about to flip over to there here in a second. Trying to make sure I got the right one here. Is this the right one? No, that's 3A Division 2. Producing on the fly. Share the right one this time. I'm still here, folks. Just trying to. Well, no, it's just not pulling up. We're having our first burp of the. Oh, here we go. Paul got it this time. All right, let me get it so everybody can see it. Oh, nope, wrong one. All right, here we go. Class 3A, Division 2, Region 1, District 1. You got Amarillo River Road, Canadian Childress, Dimmitt, and Friona. Not much change. District 2, Idalou, Littlefield, Lubbock, Roosevelt, Muleshoe, and Slayton. District 3, Alpine, Anthony, Cahoma, Crane, San Angelo, Grape Creek, Stanton. District 4, Breckenridge, Henrietta, Holiday, Jacksboro, Merkel, and Wichita Falls, City View. So Holiday, Jacksboro, City View all stay together in Region 1. District 5, Clifton, Comanche, Dublin, Eastland, Hamilton, Millsap, and Rio Vista and Tolar, big district there. District 6, this is the charter schools. This is going to be an interesting one here. You've got Gateway, you've got Madison, you've got Inspired Vision, Maypearl, Mesquite PTAA, Scurry Rosser, and then Cedar Hill Trinity Leadership. That's going to be an interesting district to talk about, and I don't mean that in a good way. District 7, you got Bells, Blue Ridge, Callisburg, Howell, Leonard, SNS, and Valley View. District 8, you've got Edgewood, Harmony, Grand Saline, Lone Oak, Chisholm, Prairie Land, and Quitman. That's a district that could be Region 3. That's one of those dividing lines that you have to make a decision somewhere. Now Region 3, 3A Division 2, Dangerfield, DeKalb, Hooks, Hugh Springs, New Boston, Queen City, and Redwater. That's just a good old school East Texas district right there. District 10, another one. You've got, this is going to be a fun one. ARP, New Diana, Jefferson, West Rusk, Troop, and Winona. Of course, Troop, West Rusk, Jefferson, New Diana, ARP have all had been really solid teams. Of course, Jefferson 2 years ago made it to the region final before losing to Malakoff last year, got hit with injuries. Troop had a magical run. I think they got beat in the region finals. West Rusk was the team that everybody struggled to beat. Even in their playoff game, I think they were up in the first half, gave up either a pick six or a kickoff return for a touchdown to begin the second half, and ended up losing. So that's going to be a good little battle. District 3, Blooming Grove, Buffalo, Elkhart, Mildred, Rice, and Tig. District 12, Hardin, Koontz, New Waverly, Newton, Warren, and Woodville. So Newton and Woodville in the same district. The Battle of the Eagles. Of course, Newton's been Newton, and Woodville 2 years ago made it to the state championship game. And then last year started slow, got hot, went 4 rounds deep. Region 4, District 13, Anderson, Shiro, Florence, Lexington, Rogers, Schulenburg, and Thrall. District 14, Rice Consolidated, Boiling, East Bernard, Tidehaven, Van Vleck, Vanderbilt Industrial, and Wallace Brazos. That's going to be, that's a tough district in that region. Of course, Rice last year took a big step back, man. The year before, they'd had a bounce back year in of itself, and their defense was amazing. They went like 8 games and gave up like 10 points against really good teams. Last year, it was the exact opposite. We'll have to see how they bounce back. District 15, Blanco, Comfort, Karn City, Nixon, Smiley, Poth, Young Men's Leadership, and Stockdale. So Blanco and Poth in the same district, Panthers and Pirates. And then District 16, Cotulla, Falfurrias, George West, Heberville, Odom, and Santa Rosa. All right, now let's flip over into the 4As as we produce on the fly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think they only do the volleyball and the basketball. The football, volleyball, and basketball today. And I think baseball and any of those others will come out later. I never really remember on those. Let me close that off. Let's close that off. All right, let's go to 4A Division 1, folks. Yeah, I got to admit, Jason, as we're now pulling up that I didn't see Stephenville going Region 3. Not that it's not, it's not that kind of stuff hasn't happened before. You're in that Central Texas area where there's so much movement and so much growth that some of these teams, man, that they can do the region spin-a-whirl and end up being in almost 3 of the 4 regions and 3 realignments sometimes. Liberty Hill had that done to them back when they were still in the 3A world at that time. All right, let's go 4A Division 1. Let me bring it up on y'all's, and let me bring it up on mine. I have to change my mouse. Give me just a second. So 4A Division 1 looks a little like this. All right, we're going to start out in Region 1. It's the El Pasos, Andros, Austin, Riverside, Yeltsin, and San Elizario. That doesn't change. District 2, Canyon, Randall, West Plains, Dumas, Hereford, and Pampa. That might be your early District of Doom for that region. That's a really solid region. I mean, look what the three Canyon schools have done over the last 4 years. West Plains going 4A Division 1 now. They're all three in the same district again. That's going to be fun. District 3, Andrews, Greenwood, Plainview, San Angelo, Lakeview. It's a small district. District 4, here we go. This is one of those, would it be a District of Doom? Sort of. Stephenville not being in there, because that was a lot of what that happened. You've got Alvarado, great 2-year run. Aubrey, Ranchview, Decatur, Godley, Lake Dallas, Castleberry, and then Springtown. Man, that's a big district. You're not going to have to worry about finding a lot of non-district games. I will tell you that. You know, Alvarado, Decatur, Springtown, of course. Aubrey last year or 2 years ago was really good. There are no knockovers. Lake Dallas, we haven't seen the progression we thought we would from the Falcons, but maybe this year they do. And then Godley's been a solid team. This is another tough district. Man, District 2 and District 4 in Region 1 are legitimately two districts that could be in the top half of our toughest district show we will do here in a few months. Man, after this, we'll already start getting ready for the all-season shows. Region 2, 4A Division 1, it's the Fort Worth. They all stay together. Throw in Kennedale, so it's Benbrook, Carter, Riverside, Dunbar, Eastern Hills, Southwest, Western Hills, Jarvis Hills, and Kennedale. Kennedale's got to be really happy about that. You're not gonna, you know, you might be worried you don't get tested enough. Let's see how much how much Kennedale loads that non-district schedule up to make sure they can be battle tested. But the interesting thing here to me is with District 5 and District 6. I know this is just for nerds like me who live in this area, but you've got the Fort Worth and the Dallas and then the Kennedale. So in this. I got kicked out of my own show there for a second. We're back. As I was saying, the interesting thing to me is going to be we're going to have a Fort Worth or Dallas ISD, multiple ones of those as they'll play at you on to the second round, because District 6 is all the Dallas schools: Carter, Conrad, Hutchins, Kimball, Lincoln, Pinkston, Roosevelt, Spruce, and North Dallas. That helps Dallas ISD, of course. They don't have to travel much now on their district games. And I mean, heck, with that 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, they basically have to play 1 or 2 non-district games, so that's good for them. But you're going to get Fort Worth and Dallas ISD schools moving on to the second round guaranteed this year. In District 7, Caddo Mills, Ferris, Kaufman. Oh, by the way, Kaufman back down into 4A. Last time they were in 4A, very solid team in the region. They've been competitive in 5A, though last year they took a really big step back. Maybank, Paris, Sulphur Springs, and Waxahachie Life. So Sulphur Springs gets pulled away from the true DFW like they had been with Panther Creek and Salina. Of course, Panther Creek and Salina both went up. Sulphur Springs now spends more, well, not quite East Texas. They're in that what we used to call the Gaza Strip between East Texas and DFW. I actually used to cover Kaufman and Maybank when they were in the same district back then in 4A. And so they're not quite fully DFW. They're not quite fully East Texas. They're in that in between. And then District 8 is the traditional the traditional District of Doom. It's Bullard. We're not talking about them. Henderson, Jacksonville does drop down into it as expected. Kilgore, Lindale, Pine Tree, Palestine, and Chapel Hill. So that district's just going to be another slog again. Man, there's going to be teams in District 8 that don't make the playoffs that are going to look over at District 6 and District 5 and be really pissed about that. All right, let's go to Region 3, and this is where Stephenville shows up apparently. Wow, not only Region 3, but you almost spun completely into Region 4 there, as they're in District 12 with Burnett, China Spring, Gerald, Lampasas, Marble Falls, and Stephenville. That's going to be a tough district. That is going to be a solidly tough district. I don't think it's not as tough as what we all were kind of thinking might happen if Stephenville would have stayed with the likes of Alvarado and Godley and Springtown, but that's still not going to be an easy district. The interesting thing, though, to me is Your by-district matchup could be a team like Bay City taking on Stephenville. So how's that for your first round matchup? You'll talk about some interesting travel there. District 11 is Bay City, El Campo, Navasota, Needville, Berkshire Royale, Sealy, and West Columbia. District 9, Bridge City, Huffman, Hargrave, Liberty, Livingston, Lumberton, LCM. So that district basically stays intact. District 10, Fort Bend, Willowridge, Houston, Austin, Houston Northside, Houston Sterling, Harmony School of Innovation, and then Stafford. Stafford's got to be happy with that district. Them and Willowridge. I think both of them can be very happy with that one. Though that Harmony School of Innovation has some players. I ain't gonna lie about that. All right, let's go to Region 4. It's Austin, LBJ, Austin Northeast, Austin Travis, Canyon Lake, Davenport stays in Division 1, Fredericksburg, Kerrville, Tybee, and Taylor. That is going to be I wouldn't call it necessarily a toughest district, but a district that week in and week out, you're going to get some interesting results. District 14, Floresville, Lavernia, Medina Valley Creek, Pleasanton, Kennedy, San Antonio, Kennedy, Somerset, and Uvalde. And then Region 4, Beeville, Jones, Corpus Christi, Allen, Toulouse, Midway, Corpus Christi, King, Corpus Christi, Miller, Corpus Christi, Moody, and Port Lavaquias, Calhoun. So it's Beeville, Port Lavaquia, and then Corpus Christi. And then District 6, you got 5-man, Zapata, Far Valley, Hidalgo, Early College, Utica, Ulsa, and Alice. So that is a look at region or in 4A Division 1. Now let me see if there's any no questions. So we'll flip back over here and go to 4A Division 2 to finish out the listing of, and then we'll have a little comments on the stuff. All right, so let me again share the screen. Got to stop sharing that one. And share that one. All right, here's our final listings. Oh, no, I pulled the wrong one. Hang on. Got to go 4A Division 2. Actually, I hit 4A Division 2. And it went to 4A. Their link has it at 4A Division 1. Let me refresh and see. All right, there we go. Like I said, I don't miss the days. I mean, it was fun just because you get frustrated. Miss the days of trying to refresh as the sites are crashing. See, it keeps doing that. It keeps pulling back up 4A Division 1, even though this says it's 4A Division 2. Here, let me see. Sometimes their links get flipped, so let me hit 3 or let me hit 1A or 2A and see what it shows. No, it's right. Oh, it's under 3A. That's it. Weird. So they got to fix that. Here we go. Found it, though. We're good now. I think. We'll see what comes up. Here we go. Yeah, 4A Division 2. Here we go. Now let me pull it up on my side so I can see it. 4A Division 2 realignment. And here we go. District 1, Clint, Mountain View, El Paso, Bowie, El Paso, Irvin, Fabens. District 2, you've got Big Spring, Fort Stockton, Monahans, Pecos, Seminole, and Snyder. In District 3, Borger, Levelland, Lubbock, Cooper, Liberty, Lubbock, Estacado, and Perryton. District 4, you got Bridgeport, Brock, Burke-Burnett, Graham, Iowa Park, and Mineral Wells. So Brock, Graham, Iowa Park, Mineral Wells, that is now a Region 1 district. Then let me flip over. Carthage stays Region 2. And it's back. And I'll get to the other one here, but I just want to bring this one up. District 8, Carthage Center, with working on their second or third coach in 4 years. Gilmer, Pine Tree, Pittsburgh, and Pleasant Grove, folks. Carthage, Gilmer, and Pleasant Grove all in the same district once again. Oh, what fun that will be. I'm telling y'all, man, Gilmer is very young at so many positions. They are going to be scary good this year, but they're going to have to battle. Now, of course, Pleasant Grove, new coach, end of an era. We'll be talking about that. Grant and I'll have a show here probably. It depends. this is one of the months he goes on his vacation. I go on mine in August, the week before the season. He usually does his in February, and I've got to find out when his vacation week is, but we will have a show soon on realignment and the coaching changes, because my goodness, folks, the coaching changes this year, and this is before realignment. Usually you get the coaching changes now because you're going to get coaches going, yeah, I don't want to be in this district. There's no way I can win here. I might as well, get out and go somewhere else. So we'll be talking about that. It has been a crazy one. There's been end of eras. Of course, one of the end of the eras is not only Bill Elliott retiring, but Salina finally moving up into the big boys. Probably will never see them down here again. Well, I say that. If we do eventually go to 7A, that usually slides everybody back down a notch. But I would be very shocked to see it, because that area is just exploding right now. All right, so let's go back over, though, to back in order. The Region 2 cards, I just had to figure that one out. District 5, you've got Glen Rose, Hillsboro, Kemp, Uplift, Hampton Prep, Venus. District 6, you've got Gainesville, Crum, Lake Worth, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. District 7, Bonham, Farmersville, North Lamar, Quinlan Ford, Sunnyvale, Wills Point. And again, District 8, Carthage Center, Gilmer, Spring Hill, and Pleasant Grove. I mean, look, District 8 should dominate this region. I don't even need to look who's coming back to tell you that. That's just crazy right there. Region 3, District 9, Athens, Brownsville. And I was talking about Brockett and them. I meant they stayed in Region 1. I mean, I think I said they came over. I meant they stayed in Region 1. Region 3, Athens, Brownsboro, Canton, Madisonville, Rusk, and Van. That's a solid district. Canton, really impressed with last year when we saw them. They lost to Sunnyvale, but they played them really hard in that game. And, of course, Athens had their magical season. The problem with them is they lose everybody, but Coach Harrell's building there. If he doesn't end up leaving, and I only say that because, I mean, when you're in a 4A Division II team and you start turning the program around, bigger schools are going to want, start talking to you. But you got to like that. I think every team in this district is happy with this district, especially Van, Canton, and Athens, because they not only get Carthage off their back, they get Carthage in a different region. They're now in Region 3, so I got a feeling every one of those coaches are thinking, yes, this is a step up for us. District 10, Hampshire, Fannett, Hardin, Jefferson, Jasper, Shepherd, Silsbee, and West Orange. Stark. Region 3, it's the Houstons, Fur, Cashmere, North Forest, Scarsboro, Washington, Wheatley, Worthing, and Yates. District 12, Belleville, Brazosport, Hitchcock, Harmony, LaGrange, and Lamarck. Of course, Hitchcock moving up into 4A Division II. They trade district rival Columbus for what will now be district rival Belleville. Jeremy, if you're still in the chat, will Columbus and Hitchcock play in non-district? Let me know that. Region 4, hang on. And here's what we were talking about, Jason. You were talking about Stephenville in Region 3. Brownwood's in Region 4. Brownwood, Gatesville, Robinson, Salado, Conley, and La Vega. Woo! That's a fun district. District 14, you've got Achieve, Eastside, Giddings, La Vega, New Tech, and Wimberley. If I'm La Vega, I'm happy with that. If I'm Laga Vista, I'm happy with that. Of course, we have a Laga Vista coaches show here. And last year, one of the best teams not to make the playoffs. And I'm not saying that just because we do the coaches show. Craig Phillips did an amazing job with that team. They lost so many games by 6-7 points. That whole district, I'm going to miss what that district was last year with them and Wimberley and Navarro and all the other teams. Gerald, that was just Smithfield. That was just a great, fun. Each week you didn't know what was going to happen. I think you're going to see that now in 15 because you've got Bandera. Bandera, man, they have quietly put together 3 really good seasons. Now, last year, I think they went unbeaten and lost in the first round. They need to get better in the playoffs. This district will toughen them up, though, because it's Bandero, Cuero, Navarro, Gonzalez, Pearsall, and Memorial, San Antonio Memorial, that is. And then District 16, Corpus Christi, Lundy, Ingleside, King, La Feria, Port Isabel, Rio Grande City, Grulia, Robstown, and Rockport Fulton. So that's all the districts. If anybody's in chat and they want to tell me what their biggest shock is, I think the Gilmer, Carthage, Pleasant Grove, of all them being back together, I think that's going to be interesting. I'm trying to look and see. Hang on. Here, I guess I can close that out. If you have any questions, wherever you're at, whether if you're in YouTube or if you're in whatever, check my things. And again, we're going to Grant and I will do a show. I'll talk to him today in the next couple weeks about. We also kind of want to see what other coaching changes shake out. Though I feel like this is going to be one of those years. There's going to be a lot of late coaching changes. I will be talking with Chris Welch of our Panhandle show at some point this week. Of course, he does the Bushland broadcast. I'm curious to see what he thinks about that. I will be talking with Kenny Heath of the Syntech show. He was supposed to be on today. He couldn't make it. I think work got in the way for him. Chris was too. They both wanted to jump on the live show, but they weren't able to. And of course, Grant works a job where he can't really jump on during the day unless it's like, he takes off for the state championship shows. So, I mean, now it's just kind of let the dust settle and kind of see what everybody thinks about this. The instant reactions again, I think, hang on, let me. Guadalupe Francisco Rodriguez, biggest shock, Sinton going down to 3. Yeah, we did know it, though. We knew it once the numbers, the cutoff come out. But I said that earlier. I think you're right. I mean, I think Sinton immediately is a state favorite. Every year, we always like to point out the teams that have struggled at the higher classes and then drop down, and then they're instantly successful. But when you've had a team that's been as successful as Sinton drop down, they're going to be just as successful. Now, that is one of the things that Grant and I will do. That's one of the reasons why we like to take a little bit of time before we actually do our true realignment show where we sit and talk about it, is we want to kind of look and see teams because, I mean, a couple years ago, I thought when Sweetwater dropped from 4 to 3, they'd be more successful. I thought when, I thought the last time Jacksonville dropped from 5A to 4A, they'd be more successful. I don't know where that program is. Speaking of, I just got to look real quick. I got to see my town's district. District 6, Marshall, Greenville, Mount Pleasant, Nacogdoches. I always say Nacog. I almost say it like that. Terrell and White House and Texas High. Man, that is a long stretch of a district. You're going from the tip top of Northeast Texas that borders Arkansas all the way down to Nacogdoches. Man, that is a heck of a district travel-wise. Now, strength-wise, it gets better. Terrell coming in kind of helps solidify because for the last few years, it's basically been Texas High and Marshall. They'll go up against District 5. That's good for them because for the first time, they get kind of a breath in district. That region has been such a battle, and this year it kind of softens up a lot, actually. Region 2, 5A Division 2 is not the region of doom anymore. Speaking of Salina, for those that might want to know, District 4, 5A Division 2 is where they reside. And, man, they are in a absolute slaughterhouse of a district. Anna, Salina, Denison, Frisco, Emerson, Independence, Memorial, Panther Creek. So Salina and Panther Creek's rivalry will continue. And then Prosper Richland. Now, Prosper Richland, a lot of people don't realize they played a Wildcat schedule, or some call it an outlaw schedule, the last couple of years. This will be their first year of actually playing UIL football, but they were a competitive team. Now, they made the jump from what would have been 4A Division 2 all the way up to 5A Division 2. So we'll have to see how that affects them. That's got to be a tough one when you look at that. I'm also curious about again, I'm looking at this real time with y'all. I'm going to look and see where did Aledo fall? Aledo fell with District 3, Arlington, Bowie, Houston, Lamar, Martin. Oh, they're happy. They got in about as good of a district as they could moving up to 6A. Be real curious to see what they do in 6A. One of the true powers of the last 20 years, and now they're in with the big boys. Some teams have struggled when that happens. Others have not. Closing thoughts. Oh, Rodriguez being from LaGrange. Speaking of, what is LaGrange going to look like this year? I've already said so many teams, I don't even remember saying LaGrange. Where are they? District. Oh, yeah, District 12 with Belleville, Hitchcock, Harmony. Katy Harmony, sorry, not Harmony of East Texas. That'd be really weird because they're 3A, and that'd be one heck of a trip. LaGrange and Lamarck. It's going to be a battle-tested district in of itself. All right, let me pull up all the districts again. All the region things again. Let me close everything out here except for that, and then we'll have our closing thoughts on it. All right, 2As. And I'm just going to look at these. I'm not going to try to pull them back up again. Again, I think the biggest thing is Munster going to Division I. We all knew that was going to happen. Them, Alvord, Chico, Nakona, Olney, and Tioga. I mean, Munster's young. Again, they're losing the house, losing one of the best classes that school has seen. Third state championship in since 2017, not with all the same classes because that'd be illegal. But this class won 2 state championships. And remember, they were a late pick 6 away as a sophomore class from maybe going back to state, because this easily could have been their 3rd trip. Just a great class, and of course, legendary quarterback, and just fun. And of course, we do a Munster show, so that's why I like to pump them up. But I mean, he's got to be happy with this region because he's going to come into a higher division and be young, but still be really competitive in this region. I don't see anybody else as of right now. And again, once we start doing the true researching for this season and everybody's returning and all that, I flush all that out at the end of every year. You'll of course remember the easy ones. Like when Carney was coming back at quarterback after winning a state championship. Okay, and Garrett has their star. Man, what a state championship game he had after he had been hurt for like 4 weeks. Of course, you remember those names, but breaking down team by team as that starts to happen, as the research starts to happen over the next few months, we'll be a little bit more in depth. But just looking overall, Munster's got to be happy with their region. Region 3, 2A Division I is just going to be a battle. It has been the last few years. Region 4, man, what was it, that district? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of region. I'm thinking of Division 2. I'm thinking of Division 2. Let me go over there. Division 2, what I was thinking of is where'd he go? What region or what district was it I was thinking of? I have lost it. I have lost the region the district I was thinking of in my mind. It's one of the things I wish you could do better on these spreadsheets they hand out. If you could just type in the school. I was speaking of Class 2A Division 2, that region, Division 2, they've all going to be happy because, again, Munster leaves. But also Collinsville is out of that. Collinsville to Region 3 is weird to me. Lindsay, we'll have to see what Lindsay did. They had one of their best years in the school history last year. Injuries slowed them down, but they got hot to get in the playoffs. I think they return a good core. They're going to lose some key players, but I mean, in that Region 3, Mount Enterprise completely losing everything. I don't remember if Overton has what coming back in District 10. District 10's, man, that's a toss-up. Look for Detroit. Watch out for Detroit. The Eagles this year, Coach Paul Johnson, he had them a game away from the playoffs, and it really sucks because they actually beat the district champ, but lost in another game that kicked them out of the playoffs. Just one of those. That was one of those weird districts where I'm not going to say everybody was great because I think they all got beat in the first round, but everybody was compared, on the same level. So the scores were all close, and it was a really fun district to watch. Let's see here, region, or just going back over the regions. So we'll go for about another 10 minutes or so. Looking at 3A Division 2, first thoughts. Region 3. That Dangerfield, DeKalb, Hooks, Hugh Springs, New Boston, Queen City, Redwater. Dangerfield's got to be happy with that district after they have been in some really tough districts over the last few years. Hooks, I think, is getting a new head coach. Hugh Springs is getting a new head coach. New Boston was solid last year, man. We listened to that. Who was it that beat them? I can't remember who beat them in the playoffs. They were the heavy underdog, and New Boston almost came away with the win. District 10, you got ARP, New Diana, Jefferson, West Rusk, Troop, and Winona. Again, that's one to me. It's going to be a tough one, depending on what everybody has coming back. But ARP, Troop, and last year, great season. Awesome to see them in the same district as rivalries again. That's, man, it has cooled over the years, at least on the East Texas level. But that was a rivalry, man, back when I first started broadcasting. And even when I was growing up, especially when I started broadcasting, man, both of those teams were so good, and they had such a great rivalry. I'm glad to see they're in the same district again. Let's see. I guess that's about it for Tidehaven and Vanderbilt Industrial. Interesting. Vanderbilt Industrial is a team that, you know, they in 3A Division I played some of the toughest schedules and had some of the toughest losses over the last couple of years. I think their team, as they drop down, a team to watch out for in this region. With Lexington, they lose Case Evans. They don't rebuild, they reload, but it's still, they're going to be younger this year. Rogers, we'll have to see what they have coming back. Then, you know, Poth and Blanco being in the same district. So, yeah, that's a look at 3A Division II. 3A Division I. I think, you know, Paradise, Peaster, and Vernon staying together, but now they're with Bowie and Boyd. That softens theirs. That region 2, Gunner, Pilot Point, Pottsboro, and Whitesboro. District 5. Again, Life Oak Cliff can be a solid team. They've made the playoffs before, so you can't count them out. But Dallas A+ and them, and then those 4, I kind of feel like you know who the 4 top will be. It's where they will be. Gunner, of course, almost kept things going as normal, even with a coaching change, losing the Wall in the state semifinal. But they're going to reload. They're a division up, but that's not for Gunner. That's not that big of a deal. The amount of, you know, they're not going to be out depth by many teams in 3A Division I, at least in this region. Also in the region, District 7. That's interesting. Commerce, Malakoff, Mineola, Mount Vernon, Winsboro. Again, Commerce, Malakoff, Mount Vernon, and Winsboro all have had amazing seasons over the last few years. Winsboro last year at one point looked like the overall state favorite until Commerce beat them. And then Commerce loses in the region semifinal. I can't remember, region semifinal or region final. And they return their quarterback. They're all everything quarterback, but they also return most of their skill players and a lot of their defense. So Commerce Tigers should be ranked high. Again, District 8 basically stays the same. Atlanta, Gladewater, Sabine, Tatum, Liberty Islo, White Oak. I feel like Tatum needs to make a move at some point. Like, it feels like they've been kind of stuck in the mud in place the last few years. All right, let's see. Just going over. And again, we will go more in depth on this in a future show. Francisco said that LaGrange has 7 and 7 returning, so 14 total starters. Wow. That'll be interesting. I once called LaGrange winning a state championship when Homer Bailey beat Forney back in 2003, 2002. I can't remember now. That was a great game. All right. Flipping over to 4A to finish it up. Again, 4A Division I, the funniest part or the interesting part is Stephenville swings Region 3, and then 4A Division II, Brownwood swings all the way to Region 4. That's a good – the District 12 is going to be good for Stephenville with Burnett, China Spring, Gerald, Lampasas, Marble Falls. Gerald's growing, dude. They're one of those schools that I'm actually surprised didn't flip higher up. They went a division up. Some thought they might go up 2 and be in 5A. They survived down in 4. I think that helps them. I think they're a region favorite, but it's going to be a tough, not the region favorite for any Stephenville fans, a region favorite. Of course, Lampasas always can score. Defense has always been their issue. So I think that's a solid district for Stephenville. Paris and Sulphur Springs being swung more into that not quite Dallas, not quite East Texas is interesting. Caddo Mills, I'm curious to see what they're going to do now in 4A Division 1. They had a couple great seasons a few years ago in Division 2, and then they kind of last couple years have not been bad, but they've struggled, and now they're having to play up, where I do think depth will be an issue for them. Again, what will Jacksonville do this time and they drop down? Lindale stayed down. They're a team like Jacksonville and Kaufman. They're always kind of dancing at that number. Again, the Three Canyons in one district again with Dumas. I feel bad for Hereford and Pampa because that's going to be a really tough to try to get through Canyon, Randall, West Plains, and Dumas. I know West Plains loses a lot, but I think they've earned that right. I just realized I forgot to brush my beard this morning. Sorry, random thought. They lose a lot, but I think that they've proven in their very short history that they can rebuild. Reload and not rebuild. And let me finish it out. We'll look once again at 4A Division 2 just to see any comments, thoughts. Again, Bridgeport, Brock, Burke, Burnett, Graham, Iowa Park, and Mineral Wells. I think Brock, Graham, and Mineral Wells is very happy with where they're at. I think they're very happy to be where they're at in that region. That to me, that they're two of those three teams are easily the favorite. I mean, Lubbock Cooper at Liberty, though, they're building. In fact, I kind of thought they might jump, but they just fell under. Region 2, again, District 8, Carthage, Center, Gilmer, Spring Hill, Pittsburgh, and Pleasant Grove. They just love putting those together, man. Gilmer this year, I think, would be the favorite in this region, even with Carthage and Pleasant Grove. Sunnyvale, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're pretty young. That's a really good pro team last year. We saw them play against Canton. Canton jumped out early, and then Sunnyvale ran them down and ended up getting past them pretty quick. But that was a really solid football team last year. Again, Region 3, Athens, Canton, Rusk, and Van are all happy to not only be away from Carthage, but to be away from them in the region, especially a Van team that, man, it just feels like every time they've had their best team, they're in Carthage's region. And now Van has a chance to breathe. I mean, if you avoid, West Orange, Stark, and Silsby in that first round, Van would have a chance to play a few rounds this year. So it's going to be interesting over the next 2 years with them in Region 3, and again, mainly being away from Carthage. And again, the Brownwood, La Vega district all being swung to Region 4, Brownwood, Gatesville, Robinson, Salado, Conley, La Vega. That's a tough district for 4A Division. That's one of the tougher districts in 4A Division 2. I'll talk to Coach Phillips at Laga Vista, see what he feels, but I think he's got to like his district. District 5, District 15 is going to be a fun one. Bandera, Cuero, Navarro, Gonzalez, Pearsall. All right, I think we've got the information we needed for today, so we're going to go ahead and end this stream. Be looking on our socials, Facebook, Sideline to Sideline, on Twitter, at Grant and Terry. Email the show, grantandterry@s2ssport.com. Any questions you have about realignment, coaching changes, anything you want to talk about in the season, please email us or reach out to us. I'm on Smokey. You can private message me there. I know a lot of y'all still do, just because that's where I used to always talk to all y'all. You can message me on there. And I think for the most part, just early looking at it, I like this. I like it. I think they spread out everything pretty fair. Again, peel back the layers here over the next few days, and we'll really start to dig down deep. But until then, this has been Sideline to Sidelines realignment special right here on L4 Media. Oh, yeah, don't forget, Sunday, live Super Bowl watch party. Intern Noah the Pro will be in studios. We will be watching the game together, having some drinks, having fun, doing what we did last year. Had a great turnout last year, like huge numbers. Hope to do that again. It will post on the Sideline to Sideline page as well on Sideline on Facebook, but you can also go over on Facebook and just type in Outdrank the Coverage, and you'll find our page as well. Join it, man. We've got almost 9,000 people on that page as well. But all right, till next time. See ya.